And so you turn around 12 months from now and you won't even recognize the person that you were. That kind of thing.
No, that's a great point. Is, if somebody, like, let's just say in a make-believe scenario, somebody's eating, their standard diet and they're maintaining their weight perfectly. Their standard diet includes a pop, though, like 1 can of soda. Let's say for this purpose, it's about 100 calories. 1 can of soda, if during this challenge they drop their 1 can of soda, that's only 100 calories a day. That's not a huge deal, but 100 calories over an entire year, that's 10 pounds that somebody's going to lose just by the numbers alone, if they're maintaining their weight already.
Sure.
And so you go, 100 calories, it's not a big deal, but over the course of a year, 10 pounds will completely change how somebody looks.
Yeah, you feel better, therefore on Sunday, instead of staying on the couch, you're going for a walk or a bike ride or a swim. Like, it's not just about the number on the scale. I mean, it does so much for you mentally and emotionally.
Yeah,
I think
gives
too.
you more energy.
I mean, good behavior begets good behavior, so it just sort of keeps going, I think.
I think that's a great segue, because I like the idea of good behavior leads to more good behavior. Right. So let's say I did learn some new skills, some meal prepping guides or hacks, whatever you want to call it. But if I find myself, I'm making, for consistency, I'm going to stick with the same kind of stuff. It's easy. I know it fits my macros, but then I have my meal. But then we've got a 12-year-old or soon to be 12-year-old boy at home. Now I've got to make something different for him because I've improved my meal choices or my food choices. So if I've got a family, right? Maybe I'm the only one that went through the challenge. What are your thoughts or suggestions as far as how do I bring this home?
In my opinion, healthy food looks the same for pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Depending you to you, it might be a little bit different quantity, but largely it's going to be like the same basic groups of food. So a lot of people always talk about, my kid's not going to eat chicken and broccoli in a sweet potato. It's like, well, why not? Maybe it doesn't give him that initial dopamine response because it's not fried with added sugars and all of that stuff, but it's going to set him up for a lifetime of a good relationship with food. Having a home-cooked meal even, right? He knows that the family's supposed to come together and eat a healthy meal, and that's what he thinks when he's 10 years from now when he starts thinking about his own family. So I think that it's incredibly important, and at first the kid might push back and go,
guaranteed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we went through that, and it's really our fault because for a lot of years we didn't eat like this.
Yeah.
And so we had pop in the fridge and chips in the pantry, and like you said, that's what he thought of when he thought of eating, because it's what we taught him. So it took a while to undo that lesson.
Right.
But I think we did a really good job of just talking to him, and he did not love it at first. It's an adjustment for sure. But we just did small changes, and feeling as good as I feel, I don't want him to have to overcome everything that we did. Yeah. So I know how hard it was for us to go from a lifestyle of not eating well to make this huge shift. Although we did it chunks at a time, it's taken years to get to where we're at.
Quite a bit harder as adults than it is kids. So if you start your kids on a good habit when they're young, that's what they're going to think of for the rest of their lives.
It definitely takes a little bit of getting used to, but that's one of the things, because we have 17-year-old and an 11-year-old. So, which some would argue, well, I have toddlers. I'm like, I think I'd almost rather have a toddler. Yeah. because the other thing is, with the 17-year-old, we can't be with her 24/7. So there are definitely those times when they're out, and even with the 11-year-old, they're not with us 24/7. So they're making some choices on their own, but they're making better choices on their own because they see the difference. They see how Micah and I are changing, and they feel better. They're both active in sports, and so it hits home for them. Like, they get it. They're not excited about it at first, and they don't necessarily want to it. And then Jackson decided to cut Pop out. And we kind of made it like a game with him, because I also want to, you want to use some balance there. I don't want to make food a huge thing, because they can get carried away with that, like anything.
Oh yeah.
But it sort of became like, I wonder if I can do this. Okay, I've done it for a month. I wonder if I can do it for another month. Okay, well, now I'm 6 months into this. I just don't drink pop anymore.
Yeah.
Which is none of our pressure. He just sort of took off and did it because we started talking about food more and nutrition and those sort of things. So definitely some resistance in the beginning, but overall we've had a good experience. It's worth the resistance.
No,
it's worth it.
It's just, you're taking out that immediate satisfaction of, the fried chicken nuggets or whatever, and you're replacing it with something that's going to be kind of a delayed gratification.
Yeah.
When Jackson's 30 years old, he's going to be like, thank you guys for, setting me up for success and health. It's just like, you see these toddlers all over the place now where they're throwing a temper tantrum. And what does the parent do? They just pull out their cell phone, give it to them, and okay, temper tantrum's over, but you never address the behavior. You just gave them a distraction.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel with bad food and kids quite a bit is, okay, it's easy, I know that they'll eat it, but it's not necessarily the right thing.
And I think, I don't know if everyone else has a similar experience, but what I've realized too, I've become more aware of how much food is advertised, that poor food is advertised to us as adults, and how it's probably even more so advertised to our kids. That all of the marketing is directed at them, because I think that same thing they know. Well, if your kid says he wants chicken nuggets, I'm gonna reward them. I'm gonna go and give them chicken nuggets, and while I'm here, I'm gonna get something to eat as well.
Right.
And that I'll just say, if you're not killing this area of life, don't beat yourself up, because the deck is stacked against you. It's tough. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that's saying, this is healthy. Look at a box of cereal, and now hopefully everyone knows. You can look at the nutrition on that and go, well, that's not what healthy looks like to me. But you look at the front of it, it's part of a balanced diet, vitamins and minerals and protein. Well, you take the cup of milk out and there's zero protein in it. What the hell? So
and that's at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You go to a clothing store, you go to the lumber store, food and candy is everywhere.
Yeah.
You go in to buy dress pants for work, and you go to the cash register, and JCPenney's has
Candy
chocolate
bars.
bars. And you're like, what? This doesn't even make sense. You go to Lowe's because you need something to fix plumbing with, and you go to check out, and there's gummy bears and ding dongs, and you're like, but you don't think about how absurd it is that those things are in but it's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with Micah. You're constantly.
Yeah, so take your experience in a challenge, pat yourself on the back. If you're avoiding some of that stuff now, that's a win.
That's awesome.
If you're trying to steer your family and your little ones away from that kind of stuff, that's a win. Again, you may not have had a life transformation in 90 days, and if you did, dude, that's high five.
Yeah,
that's
2 high fives.
Right. But if you learned a couple of things along the way, then I think it's a long journey. We're all at different places on this journey, and as long as we're making forward progress, as long as we're taking 2 steps forward, even if we are taking 1 step back, 2 steps forward, I'm still moving in the forward direction. And even I know there's certainly weeks for me where no movement. I may not have advanced towards my goal, but I didn't back up.
Right.
And I have to stop and tell myself that that's all right.
No, that's a win.
Exactly.
That's not just all right. That's a win. That you're okay. I'm still making good choices 75% of the time. I didn't hit all 5 workouts, but I hit 4. Something came up on the fifth day. I made good choices when I had to go out to lunch, even though I felt bad because I had to go out to lunch. But I still picked something that's good. A lot of people feel bad for that. But that is a huge win.
Yeah.
That's how the rest of your life needs to be.
Yeah.
Every day that you do that should be a celebration. Just because you didn't lose half a pound this week or a pound this week doesn't mean that you're not getting healthier, right? Making good choices consistently, just like we talked about with consistency, is what is winning, right?
Yeah, patience is definitely one of the ones. One virtue that I learned through this challenge is that that instant gratification didn't happen. But I didn't backslide. I've had some progress, but I made it through the major holidays, certainly some stressful times and all of that in life, and I didn't backslide. So I'm calling that a win. I'm going to just say, look, that my journey has a lot more of those. So there'll be opportunities where I'll make some progress, but the fact that I didn't give up any of the ground that I earned, I'm calling it a win.
And I think, for me, a big takeaway from, knowledge is power. So there may or may not have been a few days over the Christmas break where I got a little untethered from all of this, but I knew what I needed to do to get back on track. So it's not like you're standing at the bottom of the mountain looking up going, I don't even know how to take the first step here.
Right.
I did backslide. I'm down here in the valley, but I know exactly how to climb my way back up this mountain. And so now I can move forward feeling empowered, like, okay, I know what to do here. I don't have to panic or freak out. I'm going to start drinking more water. And then tomorrow I'm going to meal prep 2 of my meals. And, I think it's easier to get back onto it when it's not so intimidating. Because now you've created some habits and you know what you need to do to get back on that path to success. So it's not as scary.
Yeah, no. And I think even just kind of like realizing how you feel when you're kind of knocking out all of your habits on your list, most people feel a lot better when they're doing that. And so, okay, you got off for a couple days during the holidays, but the habits that you have, how you feel. It makes it so much easier to hop back into it because you're like, oh man, I'm feeling kind of sluggish today. You go, what would fix that? Meal prepping this Sunday and setting myself up for success.
Yeah.
And so it's so much easier rather than sitting there going, man, I feel sluggish. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And okay, maybe I just don't have enough energy, so let's go get a donut.
Yeah.
And then you feel worse.
So another tool that I hope everyone was aware or made use of is the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Right, that Facebook group. I noticed some of you got on there and shared some tips and recipes. Asked some good questions. So that's a resource.
That's a resource that they'll have forever.
Keep going.
Keep going. Keep using it. It's great when you guys use it.
Yeah.
So don't feel like asking a question is an issue at all. I think that's something that I want to continue to give anybody who's ever worked with Kemi. That they always have access to that. And just if it helps somebody with one thing, it's worth it. I don't want to, hoard the information. A lot of the times because it comes from you guys.
Well, and I've gotten a lot out of it. I've maybe posted or liked a few things on there, but I've read most everything that comes through. And there's been, like we were talking about earlier, some of the things that you posted in there, I didn't even think about, but read through it, saw people's responses, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can put that to work. That makes perfect sense to me.
Absolutely.
So I think that's another invaluable tool to keep in a value add too, to be able to keep doing that or keep using that forum going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and sometimes it's nice even just to know that somebody else is struggling with something that I'm struggling with, which, I guess that's kind of selfish, but it's true. Like, it's nice to just see that, oh, look, Colby's having the same issue. Like, he really wants a pizza today. Me too. So I don't feel like I'm completely alone in that journey, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The sense of community. I think that's why you guys were so successful with this.
Yeah.
It is because they were able to come together and, support each other. And support, it's not always like, oh, go get them today, Tiger.
Right?
So sometimes it's like, shit, I really want some pizza today too.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I know more than I want pizza, I want to be healthy, I want to live long, I want to focus on my health and fitness rather than I want that cheesy goodness.
Right. Which usually leaves you slightly unsatisfied.
Terribly unsatisfied. Ask questions about that later.
Yeah, so I hopefully we've set up some good things. I know that moving forward for us, we're going to really focus on making nutrition more a part of the gym than what we have in the past. Kind of working with you before we did this challenge. That's something that Micah and I both talked about with you that, I feel like we haven't always focused on that as much as we should have. And with the challenge, I feel like there's definitely a need for that. We had a huge turnout with athletes wanting to do this, and we didn't make millions off of that. The goal was simply to set them up for success. So I think just the response there shows that people want to, that's something that interests them. So we're going to make a huge effort to, make nutrition a part of our community just as much as we do working out. Which means, Bethany's on with you now.
Right.
So she's, which is pretty cool to be able to have a coach and a nutrition coach. I mean, have your nutrition coach where you can get face-to-face contact on a weekly basis. I mean, that's huge.
Oh yeah.
Because you can certainly send an email through that says, "Oh, I'm doing great and killing it," and then she sees you walking in eating the ding dong. She's like, that doesn't quite match with our check-in last week. So I think that's huge. I know, and there's certainly no push there to continue to do that, but I feel like your programs are very affordable, and I know for us it has been a great investment in ourselves, and it's been worth every penny. It does cost money, but it's a personalized plan, and I feel like you're totally worth the investment if you're at a place where you can do something like that.
Yeah, and all of your guys that went through the challenge, we're going to give them a discount code.
Cool.
To make that as easy
that.
as a transition. If they want continued, one-on-one support, I'm more than happy to do that. My big thing with, coming into a gym like this is trying to, switch the mindset that, okay, we don't work out so we can go drink beer all weekend.
Right.
We work out because we want to be healthier. So we also eat because we want to be healthier.
Yeah.
So I think that.
I to the idea or to the notion that a nutrition coach or even a membership of a gym is expensive. That's another one that I think it's a weird paradigm, or that why we think that way. When if you look at it, you've got so many trips around the sun, on this planet. Do you want your money to go to Starbucks, or do you want your money to go to your quality of life? So our goal here is to.
Can I do like a half and half plan?
Is that a Starbucks thing? Split the pumps? I don't get it. They confuse me. I think the way I'm looking at this, what I want for everybody that comes through the doors here is I want to improve. Not only do I want to improve your quantity of life. Obviously I want you to live longer than the standard American, but I want those years to be the highest quality that they possibly can be. To go and play soccer with your grandkids, not your kids, but your grandkids. You want to go and even further. And I know we've got some athletes that are making those comments
right.
like, look, I'm able to do stuff with my grandkids that I never dreamed of. And that's the idea.
That's
so
awesome.
When you're looking at this and you say, yeah, I don't know that I have X dollars a month to pay for a nutrition coach, what I implore folks to do is take a hard look at your budget and say, okay, if I well, just like Amber mentioned earlier, we in our household budget, we allotted so many dollars per month or per 2 weeks for groceries. Macro meals was something that we hadn't planned on. So what we did was we adjusted that budget to include money for macro meals and worked it in. So our overall spend comes out as a wash. And really, we talked about it early on in this, was that if you pay attention, you meal prep and you plan, you have less waste. So maybe you spend the same amount of money but get less food, and so you're thinking, I'm going to have to spend way more money. But if you throw less out, you use more of what you bought.
Consuming it, yeah.
That's right. And so there are ways, and I would challenge everyone, or I would encourage everyone to, if that's something that you want to do, reach out, use that coupon. Thank you, by the way. Use that, but just be honest and just say, look, I really want to do this, but I'm not sure how to make this work. I can guarantee you that there are strategies you can use, and probably one of them is going to be cutting out your mocha chocolate. But you can buy coffee at the store, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper.
So it's just that upfront cost versus spreading it out.
Yeah.
It's $7 at Starbucks isn't the end of the world, but when you do that $7 times 30 days,
it's a huge.
That's $210. And if you had to pay $210 at the beginning of the month for your daily Starbucks, a lot fewer people would be having
That's right.
daily
That's right.
Starbucks.
I mean, I choke. Going to a restaurant, it bothers me now. Maybe I'm becoming more of a crotchety old man.
Definitely.
But if I spend $50 on a meal for 3 or 4 people, I expect a decent meal. And the sad fact is it's hard to do that for $50 for a family of 3 or 4. You're just going to spend more than that. So what I say is, I take that $50 to research, and I can get 3 days worth of food. And in all reality, all it cost me was the effort of putting it together.
Right.
Because it's the same quality, if not better. And it's an increased quantity. So anyhow, long way of saying it is I think take a look at it and know that it's an investment in you and in your future and even your quality of life. So your kids or your loved ones are going to appreciate it the same way. So I think holler at you and talk through some of those steps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Bethany.
Yeah. Either way, she's got an email, you've got an email, so either one of those.
Either one works.
Cool.
And it's it's good stuff. It's definitely worth the investment. And I don't feel like it's an enormous investment, but it is worth it, I feel like, for sure.
Yep.
Well, I really appreciate you guys trusting me to
Yeah.
come in the gym and try to help your guys.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say let's keep it going, right? I want to keep
Yeah.
the conversation. I want to keep it top of mind, like you said.
It's definitely our goal moving forward is to make it more a part of the everyday,
So keep asking questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a culture thing for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
We use the challenge to kind of jumpstart everything and set up some really great habits. The goal is to keep it going.
Yeah.
Now they're under our belt. This was an intense kind of 90-day thing. Hopefully now we're set up with some good habits and moving in the right direction. We can do some check-in stuff certainly.
Oh, absolutely.
And I feel like we'll probably do it again in some way because it's I think it's really good stuff. And even if we wait a few months, and it's good to like check back in and take stock. And like I said, I kind of got away from it over the holidays. It's good to, feel good kind of moving back into it. So,
Yeah,
and I think that's going to happen.
Even just using it as kind of like a recalibration.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
I think that's
Now we got a
a
fancy
huge,
scale. So
huge
we can
value add.
start lining people up and weighing them. So the challenge is officially over on Tuesday,
Right.
which is the 15th, and you're going to be, so keep an eye on the Kimmy page.
For announcing the winners.
You're going to announce winners. We have a super fun wild card winner.
It's me.
It's not you.
Micah thinks he got the wild card victory.
But we're doing a wild card winner, which is super cool.
Right.
And then what do we have? Do we have 3 winners in addition to that?
So we have 4 winners in addition to the wild
Okay,
card
so
winner.
5 total.
So
Awesome.
Okay.
a grand prize, which is the Whoop. Then my personal favorite Tupperware set that I've ever owned, which is
Yes.
very nice Tupperware.
It is.
I know that you guys are thinking, oh, I won Tupperware, woohoo! But when you guys see this Tupperware, you'll realize that it is the nicest Tupperware you've ever seen. So
Life-changing Tupperware.
yeah, and then we've got a bunch of Chep swag. We've got the cooler backpacks
Yeah.
for meal prep.
Awesome.
Little digigal scales. T-shirts.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff
I think
like
we're
that.
going to kick in some t-shirts as well, so we'll have
Absolutely.
some fun stuff there. But really the goal is, to set yourself up for success and move forward. So that announcement will be coming Tuesday.
Yep.
And then we've got Julie coming in on Sunday. She's going to do that second set of scans, the in-body scan that everybody kind of did. And I'm really excited about that. I know the first round everyone was like, oh, but I'm really looking forward to the second time and seeing how things have changed and what things have gotten better.
I think it'll be awesome.
I think it's going to be really good. And I can't say that I've ever been pretty excited about doing a measurement test like that before, but I am looking forward to it. And I'm super excited for whoever gets the Whoop. Again, it's one of those little fun things that is an extra, but it's a cool investment, and I don't typically nerd out like he does or you do about all the numbers and the information, but the sleep thing has been really cool.
Absolutely.
It has been cool, and it has been a huge tool for me. And we sort of changed up our nighttime routine. We're not watching TV. We're not on the phone. Not
Say
like
it.
that.
Say it.
No, I'm not saying it.
Say it.
I'm not saying the
Sleep
weird
hygiene.
sleep
The-
hygiene word because it's gross.
The word is sleep hygiene. Well, thank you guys so much for your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you. I really appreciate
Appreciate it.
it.
It's awesome. Next time.
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah.
Yep.